1.3.1 When formulating and enforcing laws and regulations targeting bureaucratic elites, the legal framework is remarkably lenient. The opacity of law enforcement agencies and the lack of public accountability for bureaucratic failures often lead to downplaying significant issues. For instance, mismanagement of housing funds. Authorities handling millions of families' home purchase funds have faced minimal repercussions. For instance, PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, received hefty audit fees from Evergrande, while the whistleblower who warned of Evergrande's collapse was fined and barred from the Hong Kong market. Toxic milk powder scandal. The Three Deer milk powder scandal harmed thousands of families, yet those seeking justice were charged with extortion. Opaque tax and fee usage. The allocation of funds from land sales, taxes, and government debt remains shrouded in secrecy. These resources have been diverted to abandoned projects, like statues, and government buildings, rather than benefiting the people. The proliferation of high-speed rail and 5G infrastructure has also raised travel costs for ordinary citizens. As an individual, I lack channels to understand the punishments meted out to decision-makers responsible for these actions. Even expressing my opinions to the government doesn't represent the collective voice of the people. Unfortunately, the legal system can sometimes feel like a sword hanging over our heads. If I object, I may be held accountable for other violations. Bureaucratic elites exploit legal loopholes with professional legal teams and collude with business interests to conceal criminal activities. When their misdeeds are exposed, they swiftly flee the country, leaving China with staggering debts. It's a case of stealing a hook versus stealing a country. Without public participation and oversight, the risks for bureaucratic elites breaking the law remain low, while the rewards are substantial. This behavior has also influenced many lower-level employees in state-owned enterprises to seek personal gain through abuse of power. The allure of authority remains a driving force in Chinese society. 1.3.2 But who bears the consequences of these illegal and irresponsible actions? Many around me are defaulting on mortgages and maxing out credit cards. The data reveals that Chinese households are burdened with over 300 trillion yuan in debt, approximately 1.4 million yuan per family, while 560 million people earn less than $5 per day. Today, let's exclude the debts that ordinary citizens should bear. Instead, consider China's explicit local government debt of 60 trillion yuan and implicit debt of 66 trillion yuan, totaling a staggering 126 trillion yuan. Add to this Evergrande's and China Zhongji Group's debt crises, with real estate companies owing 40 trillion yuan, and the 5G rollout's questionable impact. None of these debts are directly tied to China's citizens. They are consequences of bureaucratic elites' actions or regulatory failures. The government has never informed the people how this far exceeds the 166 trillion yuan debt will be managed or absorbed. Now, do not exclude these farmers, dual nationals, government officials, etc. Let's calculate based on a family with 2 retired elders, a middle-aged couple, and 2 children. If we don't pass the debt burden to the next generation, claiming to trust their wisdom, the husband, as the sole income earner, represents about 1/6 of the labor force. This translates to an additional debt burden of 760,000 yuan per labor force member, not accounting for the family's existing 1.4 million yuan debt. This amount nearly equals a lifetime's disposable income for an average Chinese citizen. How many people in China possess a net worth of 760,000 yuan? How many families can shoulder the extra 760,000 yuan debt allocated by the government? Meanwhile, the bureaucratic elite's reckless spending has affected the livelihoods of millions of families. They are all the disposable income of hundreds of millions of families. In my view, at least 100 million people should be held accountable not evaded or ignored.